Here's a few of the stories coming up tonight on Primetime Local News. Colleen Young gets re-elected for the Lloydminster constituency. And more on some of the councillors rerunning in the municipal election. Plus our weekly edition of Pet Project.
Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Colleen Young of the Sask Party has once again been elected to serve as the MLA for the Lloydminster constituency. Our Lane Hoffert has more on her election night victory.
Colleen Young celebrated the victory at her campaign office surrounded by a large group of supporters. Once Young was officially declared the winner, she was sure to thank everyone who went out and voted for her to serve another 4 years as MLA for Lloydminster.
Well, I think it's really important to thank the constituents of Lloydminster in particular for getting out in the first place and exercising their right to vote. That I think is the most important. I think we've seen over the number of years the low voter turnout that's been in this province and even in this constituency.
Young won her constituency by a landslide after receiving over 77% of the popular vote. She believes that her large victory is due to her time spent going door to door and talking to voters and finding out what issues are most important to them.
It makes me feel that the hard work I put in has paid off. Knocked a lot of doors. It was last year during my nomination. I was at every farmstead in my constituency pretty well, getting that nomination secured, and then now knocking door after door, asking people to support me. And as you can see, the results show that.
Now that Young has been re-elected, she has one thing to focus on before officially getting back to work.
Well, the first order of business is now going back and taking down all of them signs that I put up. And that is important. To see signs that are actually on people's lawns, that tells me a lot about the people and the trust they have and the confidence they have in me. And that's what was important to me, is making sure those signs were on actual voters' lawns.
Young has been the MLA for the Lloydminster constituency since winning a by-election in 2014. She will now continue to represent the riding until 2028. Lane Hoffert, Primetime Local News.
Multiple different people are vying for their first seat on Lloydminster City Council, but a few are choosing to rerun. Among those rerunning is Jason Whiting, who first became a city councillor during the 2012-2016 term. Now Whiting is eager to return and mirror what the community is asking for.
I've grown up here and I've enjoyed everything about Lloydminster, and want to continue to see Lloydminster grow. I've watched it grow, and I want to put my stamp on it, to put my thoughts and through the community's thoughts into how this community continues to grow.
Whiting has made a huge impact within the Lloydminster community, being a part of a number of different committees, showcasing the work needed to succeed as a councillor.
Yeah, it does take up some time. There's no question that any councillor that's looking to get onto it needs to have a bit of a flexible schedule and make it work, because there's a lot of behind-the-scenes reading, a lot of behind-the-scenes committee work, and that sort of thing too. So it can take up a decent amount of time.
The municipal election takes place on November 13th. The Lloydminster Region Health Foundation is bringing in a well-known mental health advocate to the city for an event in January. Stacey Comer spoke to her today and found out more about what you can expect and what she is doing to help end the stigma around asking for help with mental health issues.
I have a special guest today joining me on Primetime Local News. Christina Kuzmic is here. Christina is going to be coming to Lloydminster. Christina, you have so many titles, but we're going to say for this purpose of this interview, mental health advocate, you're a motivational speaker. You've done so much for the mental health community and just a great presence in everything that you do. It's so positive, and I just really like watching everything that you post because it's inspirational, but it's also real. So thank you for joining me today, Christina.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for those kind words.
Well, let's talk about you coming to Lloydminster. It's a small city. There's a lot of people that are really excited to see you. So when you come here, it's in January, so a few months away. But when you come here, Christina, what can people expect from your I hesitate to call it a show because I guess it's more of a, a presentation and a conversation. But what can people expect when they come and see you?
They can expect me to say a lot of things about mental health that they're probably thinking, but either are worried about saying it out loud because there's still a lot of judgment out there, or maybe they feel alone in how they feel or what their family is going through if they're trying to support a child or a loved one through mental health struggles. My son and I have been really open about his struggles and all the mistakes I've made. And so, trying to support him. So, just a really open, vulnerable, honest conversation with none of that fake stuff.
Well, the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation is bringing you out here because they want to, hear what you have to say about mental health. And you mentioned a little bit about your son Luke and some of the issues that you had. And it's open. There's articles. There's a book. So can you just tell me a little bit about how things happened with Luke and where you're at now?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to sum it up in a few seconds, but uh,
Absolutely.
my son was diagnosed with depression and anxiety in his early teens. Later on, we found out he had ADHD too. And when he was 14, I flat out asked him if he had ever thought about taking his life. And he said yes. And as any parent who's gone through this knows, or anybody who's had a friend, or it doesn't have to be a child who's gone through this, knows your entire world changes. And after that, it was just years of trying to find the right therapy and trying to find the right medication. And, a lot of times his depression showed up as anger, and he started numbing with drugs and alcohol, and he started stealing in order to get drugs and alcohol. And we had to call the police on him at one point. And he was hospitalized in a psychiatric hospital. It was just a very long, turbulent time where basically I had to learn a lot of stuff to know how to support him. And he had to put in a lot of work himself. And now we talk about it openly because the one thing that I believe is killing so many of our children is shame. We have to get rid of the shame. We have to get rid of the stigma. And that's why my son was so open about writing this book with me and talking about it openly. Because once we can remove the shame, man, we are going to save so many lives, and so many people that need help will actually reach out for help.
And it is unfortunate, as you mentioned, that there is such a stigma with people trying to get help for mental health. So, when you give your presentation at events like the one you're coming to in Lloydminster, Christina, what are some of the things that you bring out besides telling your story to kind of help people realize that it's okay to reach out for help and that it's not something where you have to hide and let it get worse and worse before it's at the point where you're either too late or you're in so deep that it's very hard to get back to where you need to be?
Yeah, so often the things we humans go that are actually very human, we label as bad or wrong or weak. That's a big one with mental health. People feel like they're weak or they're weird or they're abnormal. And I think we just need to redefine what it means to be human. You're not supposed to be perfect. And just like I don't know anybody who's physically healthy 100% of the time, everyone's got something at some point, whether it's something little and temporary or something really, big and chronic. Everybody has something. Same with mental health struggles. Everyone's going to struggle at some point. And I also think that the whole what would people think? What will people think? Which a lot of us have heard it from our parents. A lot of us live it every day, right? What will people think if they know this thing about me or my family or how I feel or what I think? That is one of the most abusive things we do to ourselves. So one thing is accepting that as humans, we are going to have human struggles, and that doesn't make us inadequate or weak. It makes us human. And two, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. You got to do what's best for you and your family. And you got to just say no thank you to any outside judgment and no thank you to your inner critic.
Well, Christina, I am so excited for having you coming to Lloydminster and just to have this conversation. And I know it's one person, but then you get the word out and hopefully the word spreads. So, Christina, once again, I'm just so thankful for you chatting with me today. And I wish we had more time. But the benefit of that is if people come out and see you when you're here in January, then they can learn more about you and learn more about the mental health situation and your advocacy as well. So if people in the meantime, Christina, are looking for information more about your book or yourself or what you do, or just to get, some of the things that you follow on social media, like I said, it's just so awesome. Some days you're not feeling great. And then you look at your page and it's like, oh, well, she's done this and it's a funny, Halloween thing or something, right? So where can they find all that information about you, Christina?
So on social media, I'm at Christina with a K, last name Kuzmic, and I do have the book that my son and I wrote together. I can fix this. And other lies I told myself while parenting my struggling child. But on social media, I'm constantly posting new content, whether it's something to make you laugh or something where, I'm really vulnerable about how hard life can be.
All right, Christina. Well, again, thank you so much for chatting today, and we'll see you here in Lloydminster in January.
Can't wait. Thank you so much.
We may technically have the plus temperature for the weather, but it certainly doesn't feel like it.
No, definitely not. It is quite chilly out today. We got some sun, which is always nice.
But that wind is always there.
With the wind, it definitely kind of negates that sunshine, but it makes it feel less gloomy.
Yeah.
If, on top of the cold weather, there's nothing worse than it being really gloomy out.
You
So
have
the
something
sun
there,
does
yeah.
add some. But currently it is 2 degrees right now. And like you said, Callan, despite it being above 0, it doesn't feel like it, and that is the case with the wind chill being closer to -3. It's feeling not too bad, but still, I don't like it when it's below 0 for sure. Wind speeds at about 24 kilometers per hour, so it is quite windy. That is definitely a factor in the coolness. In Alberta, current temperatures 2 out in Marwayne, 3 in Lac-La-Biche, Bonnyville, Cold Lake, St. Paul, Vermilion, Provost, 6 out in Edmonton, and 4 in Vegreville. And in Saskatchewan, -2 up in Isle Cross, and then +1 in Meadow Lake, in Green Lake, Maidstone, 3 in Macklin, and 2 degrees in Pierceland, St. Walburg, and in North Battleford. Overnight tonight in North Battleford, expect conditions to drop to about -5, so we'll go below 0. Partially cloudy skies. Wind speeds will be at about 11 kilometers per hour, so not too bad. And then into tomorrow, a daytime high of 8 degrees, partially sunny, so a mix of sun and cloud throughout the day, 15 kilometer per hour wind, so it may feel a little bit cooler than that +8. Overnight tonight in Cold Lake, -4 will be your low for this evening. Partially cloudy skies as well, but that wind speed won't be too bad, only 9 kilometers per hour. And that will remain tomorrow as well. Not too windy of a day, which is nice. Partially sunny skies, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of +5. Overnight tonight here in Lloydminster will drop down to -5. Mainly clear, so those clouds will dissipate that were kind of rolling in. 13 kilometer per hour wind, so at least the wind speeds will slow down just a tad. And then into tomorrow, -4 around 6 a.m., mostly clear, 15 kilometer per hour winds. That will pick up to about 17 by noontime. +2, mix of sun and cloud, and that will remain into the evening. 6 p.m. will be around +3, 11 kilometers per hour. And then around midnight, it'll go to about -3 and mostly clear as well. Winds will slow down to 9 kilometers per hour. Over the next 3 days, tomorrow will get up to about +6 with your daytime high and a low of -5. Like I said, it will be a mix of sun and cloud. And then on Thursday, those clouds will thicken up for Halloween with a high of 5 and a low of -5. So not too bad for if you're going out trick-or-treating. And then on Friday, it will be a little bit cooler with a high of just 2 and a low of -5. But that sun will make a bigger appearance as it will be mostly sunny for Friday. That is a first look at your evening weather forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
The Lakeland Rustlers basketball teams are hoping to continue their success from last season and are excited for the ACAC season to be underway once again. Our Thomas Wildman has more on their home opener.
Brett Marlowe had it, but he lost it. Another takeaway for the Rustlers. Sam Bergen's going to go all the way, and another dunk.
The opening night for basketball saw last year's national championship women's basketball team receive their championship rings. The Rustlers then took on the Augustana Vikings, who the Rustlers defeated the day before in Camrose 80-45. They continued their good play, once again beating the Vikings 86-40 in their home opener. Next, the men's team took the floor and were flying high after defeating the men's Vikings team 96-75 in Camrose. The team was potent offensively, with both Chance Samuel and Samuel Bergen scoring 21 points on the game, and solidified defensively after the first quarter, forcing 28 turnovers, giving the Rustlers their second win of the season, 96-63.
I liked our grit. I think we came out with force the second half. That was the emphasis at halftime. see what we can do defensively, see what we can do offensively, go out there and have fun. Our goal is to hold teams, under 70, and offensively it's about getting a feel and getting multiple people out there.
Rookie Samuel Bergeon was the player of the game for the Rustlers, being a key contributor coming off the bench. But the entire team was very successful on offense in the win.
It's great to see. It's a good look for the future. Everyone's hitting shots. Most of us scored. We dropped, 90-something? That's a lot in this league. So that's really good to see for our team.
Both Rustlers teams will look to build on these 2 wins when they take on Red Deer Polytechnic here at Lakeland. Thomas Wildman, Primetime, local news.
Abby St. John is back at Border Paws Animal Shelter for our weekly edition of Pet Project.
I'm back here at Border Paws Animal Shelter for our weekly edition of Pet Project, and today I'm here with Garrett. He is an adorable orange cat, and he's part of the Superstore crew. If you know this sitcom, it's a hilarious sitcom, and him and his litter were named after the characters. So tell me a little bit about Garrett. He's been here for about 2 months now. So tell me his story and what his best family would be.
So Garrett was brought in with his siblings and his mama. They were found over by the Superstore. They were just itty bitty babies, like not even 2 weeks old when they came to us. Since then, they have been spayed, neutered, microchipped, and vaccinated. He is a very sweet, cuddly little boy. Like, he's just very, very playful too. He's letting some of that orange cat energy out.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, he's still an orange cat, and they are just super energetic. But he does just love cuddles. He'll jump right onto you, and his little motor will purr and go. He is just a sweetheart. Now, family-wise, single pet household, good with other cats, dogs. What would you recommend his best fit be?
He's very curious about other cats, especially ones that aren't his siblings. So I feel he would do really well in a home with another cat. Obviously, with kids, he would be amazing. He's just a little snuggle butt, and he's so cute. Very climby too. I feel he would do well in any home, honestly, and even with somebody with a dog, because he's so small. It's easier to introduce to baby animals to
when they're younger.
Yeah. They tend to acclimate a little easier.
Yeah, and I feel like he'd make friends with anyone or any other animal. So I feel like yes, he would make the perfect fit in any sort of situation. He's just a sweetheart, just chilling. Now we have a couple events to talk about. One here at the shelter, which has been going on since Saturday. I want a little bit of an update on how it's been going so far, because it has been successful. And then the last night of the haunted shelter is tonight. So first, can we get an update on how it's been going? I know I came here last night, and it was amazing. It was so good. It was so scary, and the actors were incredible. So how has it been so far, and what should people know for tonight?
So yeah, it's been incredibly successful so far. We've had a lot of people come through. Tonight is the last night though, so if you're brave enough, come down and check it out. I would not recommend bringing small children to the late show. We did make a bunch of kids cry. So if you don't want a hard time putting them to bed, I wouldn't bring the smaller ones. Just there is a liability waiver involved and things. There are flashing lights, loud noises, jump scares, things like that. But it's been going very, very well. I'm so proud of it. Yeah. It's turned out to be quite an amazing event for the shelter, and of course with all the donations and stuff, we're able to take care of all these babies, and like our sick and injured fund as well needs some replenishing because we've had animals that come in more often than we like that are quite injured or malnourished, medical issues. So that really goes a long way to help them. And I appreciate all the support so far that we've had. It's been amazing.
Absolutely. Now tonight, last is on from what times for those who want to come out for the last night?
So the last night, we're going from 7 till 9 p.m. We do have some treats and snacks. There's popcorn, cotton candy, things like that available. So a little sweet treat after we scare the pants off you.
Absolutely. Now, the second event is taking place at Babs Gaming. So tell us what it is and what people should know about it.
So a couple of at least one of our staff is there with some animals at Babs Gaming. We have an event where you can go in, cuddle some cats, but there's a game called Strays. And I don't know if you've seen it, there's clips of it on YouTube and stuff like that, but you play as a stray cat. You get a little backpack, it's really cute. But you have to survive as a stray cat. So it's actually a really good opportunity too to kind of see the other side of it. And it's a fun opportunity. Play some games, see some cuddly critters.
Yes, and it is a fun way to raise money and, again, see some animals there as well and play a fun video game, which is always nice. Now, finally, same question as every week. What donations are you currently in need of?
So first and foremost, definitely replenishing of our sick and injured fund, which if you are interested in helping donate to that, you can do so either in person at the shelter. There is also a link on our website, or you could e-transfer finance at borderpaws.ca, and in the memo just put sick and injured fund and it goes directly right back to the animals.
Wonderful. That is definitely of utmost importance for you guys. And with this Halloween event and then the donations, I feel like that will get replenished in no time and those animals will continue to be in the best care possible. So thank you for joining me. And Garrett, he showed his personality and I have no doubt he will make a family incredibly happy.
Absolutely.
And we'll have more primetime local news after the break. The Hip Experience Band will be coming to Lloydminster on Wednesday, November 6th. Our Jackson Fontaine caught up with the lead singer to discuss the band's upcoming tour.
So today I'm pleased to be joined with Derek Lathrop, who is the lead singer of Hip Experience Band. How you doing today, Derek?
I'm doing great, thanks.
So you guys are coming to Lloydminster Wednesday, November 6th at the Vic Juba Community Theatre in Lloydminster. So just give me a little bit of backstory about your guys' band and how you came to be.
We started just after Gord Downey's passing. Hard to believe, it's like over 6 years ago. And we did a benefit concert, and then one thing led to another, one show to another. And here we are, all these years later now, we're touring and playing all over the place. It's incredible.
And what kind of music do you guys kind of play? Is it?
Well, it's all tragically hip, brother. That's what we do. Tragically hip, top to bottom, from the beginning to the end.
Awesome. And so you guys have an upcoming tour here in Canada. How excited are you for that? And have you ever played in Canada, first of all?
I've been touring Canada my whole life, 3 decades now, maybe. And my 3rd decade of touring this country. I don't know. It's always nice to get back out on the road. I know lots of people out west, so it'll be nice to see some old friends.
And have you been all over in Canada before, like Manitoba, Ontario?
Coast to coast, brother. I've laid tracks in every city in this country, big and very small.
So, like you said, you've played in Canada a lot before. So coming to kind of a smaller town like Lloydminster, not a super big market, how different do you think it'll be playing here in Lloydminster than a really big market, say Toronto?
I really don't think it's going to be that much different. I mean, people are people, people who like rock and roll and like this music tend to, they get up and get into it. They have a couple beers usually. It's that kind of crowd. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't played in Lloyd in a really, really long time. So this is going to be a lot of fun. The border town. The city in 2 provinces. I love telling people that. In 2 provinces, how is that possible? I don't know. It's a line you cross. And now you're in Alberta. Now you're in Saskatchewan. Now you're in Alberta. We might actually do that before the show and do the whole.
Just quite the experience, yeah. And how many guys are actually in your band?
There's 5 of us in total, including me, the center forward.
And what is your favorite thing about touring?
My favorite thing about touring, I would have to say these days, is meeting new people.
Meeting
I've
new
uh,
people.
I've done. I pretty much think I've done all the sightseeing there is to be done in Canada, including that jumping back and forth thing, Lloydminster Line. I've done that probably multiple times for a good laugh. Probably multiple times after a few drinks too for a good laugh. Um, so yeah, meeting new people every time we go out. You meet new folks. That's always nice to make new friends.
And you mentioned you've played in Lloydminster before. How long ago was that, would you say?
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna have to say it was like last time I was in Lloyd, early 2000s, maybe 2003, 2004, something like that. I don't know. It's been some time, yeah. Usually for the last few years, I've been going back to Saskatchewan. It's been, Saskatoon and Regina's. So
And
it'll be nice to be in Lloyd.
how long has your band been together for?
We're on year 6 now.
6 years. So that's quite the little run you guys are going on so far. And I'm sure it's
Yeah.
going to be a great little show here in Lloydminster. Always is. If people listening, they can get tickets at the Vic Juba Community Theater website. It is $40 a ticket, and I believe there's only 550 seats in there. So definitely people will have to get their tickets as soon as they can.
Yeah, let's fill this place up and have a good rock and roll night. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time to do this, Derek, and it'll be a great concert.
Awesome. Looking forward to meeting you all.
Coming up after the break, our Abby St. John will have another look at our evening weather forecast.
Taking a final look at our evening weather forecast, it's 2 degrees currently here. Feels closer to -2 with that wind chill. The wind has slowed down just a tad to about 17 kilometers per hour, but we still had quite a windy day out today. Mix of sun and cloud. And then current temperatures in Alberta, 2 degrees, also out in Marwayne and St. Paul, 3 in Cold Lake, Vermilion, and in Provost, also in Lac La Biche, 4 in Vegreville, and 6 out in Edmonton. And then in Saskatchewan, -2 up in Isle Cross, and then +2 in Green Lake, Meadow Lake, Pierceland, and in North Battleford, -6 in St. Walburg, +1 in Maidstone, and 4 out in Macklin. Overnight tonight here in Lloydminster, we will drop down to -5. We'll remain mainly clear overnight tonight, so that's always nice. 13-kilometer-per-hour wind, so that wind will slow down just a little bit more as we head into the evening and overnight. And then tomorrow, expect a daytime high of +6. It will be a mix of sun and cloud throughout the day, so it's going to be quite nice out. However, that wind, it will be slower than it was yesterday. It'll get up to about 15 kilometers per hour. And then over the next 7 days here in the border city, high of 6 and a low of -5 for tomorrow. And then on Thursday, Halloween, Thursday, a high of 5 and a low of -5, mix of sun and cloud, mostly cloudy, however. And then on Friday, a high of +2 and a low of -5. That will also be the case on Saturday. However, we'll have thicker clouds in the sky. And then unfortunately on Sunday, there's about a 71% chance of some morning snow, mix of sun and cloud. However, that will clear up in the afternoon with a high of 4 and a low of -4. High of 4 also on Monday with thicker clouds in the sky, low of -4. And then to finish off the next 7 days, a high of 5 and a low of -5 for next Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies. So we are seeing cooler conditions as the weeks go on, as we fully integrate into winter. And then we have that kind of first prediction of snowfall. But usually that first snowfall doesn't stick around very often.
I was just going to say that, especially that we're still in the positives, that it really should just kind of go by with
mostly wet, kind of rainy, and then it should dissipate. But do be cautious if there's chance of it freezing overnight as we do hit under the zeros for the evening temperatures.
And that is all the time we have today for Primetime Local News. Thanks so much for watching and have a great night.